All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, if you're in Ann Arbor or the surrounding areas in Michigan, you are more than likely not happy about the news today about Michigan head football coach Jim Harbaugh being banned from the sidelines for the rest of the regular season by the Big Ten Conference. Now, this alleged sign stealing scandal that is surrounding the Michigan football program. And of course, already we've seen football analyst Connor Stallions resign, get fired, whatever way that you want to spin it. He is no longer associated with the program. Now, this decision by the Big Ten came less than 24 hours before Michigan takes on Penn State in Happy Valley tomorrow afternoon, as this is a contest of top 10 teams that has major college football implications attached to it. This whole situation, regardless of how you feel about Michigan and Jim Harbaugh right now, it's going to get a lot uglier. And the courts are already involved. Okay, as Michigan is seeking an injunction tonight, and I'm not surprised by that. And there's going to be a lot of back and forth in the courts between the Big Ten and, of course, Michigan and Harbaugh. So it's one of those where, did the Big Ten jump the gun in regarding to suspending Harbaugh? I mean, I'll tell you like this: in their report, they were quoted as saying the Big Ten that this is not a sanction of Coach Harbaugh, but I mean, I understand that he is a steward of the Michigan program, but at the end of the day, it still sounds like it that it is a sanction on Harbaugh. For me, I look at it like this: for the Michigan football team, the biggest question is for those young men is will they be able to block out all of the outside noise and the distractions? And so far, to their credit, they've been able to do it. And in my opinion, if you are a player in that locker room, you're more than likely saying right now, it's us against the world. And I mean, they've had to deal with this before, as far as Harbaugh sitting out some games. But I don't think that anybody paid attention to it to the standpoint previously as far as what this program is currently dealing with. And I mean, these last three games of the season that Harbaugh is expected to sit out, I don't think he's going to sit out all of those games. I really don't. Of course, tomorrow at Penn State, next Saturday at Maryland, and then finishing up on the 25th at the Big House against Ohio State in a contest that could decide who wins the Big Ten East, who gets to Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship game, and who has the inside track to get to the college football playoff. And I say this because most people are expecting both Michigan and Ohio State to be undefeated heading into those contests. But nonetheless, getting back to the football team, the actual football players, it's going to come down to them. Typically, regardless of the sport, regardless of the level of competition, most players, they'll go through a wall for their head coach. And it's one of those where I think that these young men are going to develop an us against the world mindset over this. And I'm not saying this to be like pro Michigan, anti Michigan. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just calling it how it is. But I'm sure that there's people going to be out there that are happy with what's going on with Michigan. And I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there who are upset in the same fashion. And with that said, don't expect the folks in Happy Valley tomorrow afternoon to throw a pity party. I guarantee you, the folks there are going to take this and run with it. They're going to try to heckle the you know what out of the Michigan football team. But the bigger thing is, and I think Penn State football wise is not going to be distracted because they know the task at hand, and they know that they still have an opportunity to win the Big Ten. But also, more importantly, like I talked about it earlier in the week when I previewed the game, James Franklin, Penn State's head football coach, has struggled mightily against top 10 teams during his time at Penn State, most notably his struggles against Michigan and Ohio State. And I guarantee you, if Penn State loses this contest tomorrow at home, you are going to hear more about it, especially due to the fact that Jim Harbaugh possibly might not be coaching this game. We got to wait and see. But nonetheless, you're going to say, you look at it like this: if Michigan is able to win this game and Raleigh, what's going to happen if they get to the playoff? Because what the Big Ten did and what the NCAA are investigating are two separate things. So it's one of those where, do you want to go out there and have a participant in the playoff that you might look at some point down the line as far as taking that possible championship away? I'm not sure. But I'll tell you like this: Michigan and Harbaugh, and again, regardless of how you feel about it, I think they're making for great television right now. And I say that because there are people that are right now viewing Michigan as the villain. And of course, whenever you have a storyline with a villain, people are going to tune in because they want to see that person or that team lose. Now, on the flip side, for the Big Ten and Conference Commissioner Tony Petitti, excuse me, did they jump the gun in regards to the suspension of Harbaugh? I absolutely think they did. And the question and the problem is now Petiti and the Big Ten face the possibility of turning both Michigan and Harbaugh, especially Harbaugh in this situation, into a martyr. And of course, if you're associated with this Michigan football program, you're going to feel like you didn't get a fair shake. And looking at it, I think that Petiti did jump the gun. I think that he was facing the pressure from other people within the Big Ten that wanted to see disciplinary action taken against Michigan. And I'll say like this: if you're going to throw the book at somebody, you got to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row, because if you don't, they're going to come back. And in this situation right here, I'm not sure if the Big Ten really did have all of their ducks in a row yet. So I think at the end of the day, this is going to band Michigan tighter. This is going to make this football program come together and come out stronger. The players are not going to be shaken, if you will, as far as going into Happy Valley tomorrow. Like Happy Valley at Penn State can be an intimidating sight for some players. You got more than 100,000 fans there screaming, going crazy. But if there are certain schools, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, the LSU's, the Georgias of the world, where when you're recruited out of high school to go there, you're expected to not be phased by those situations. This is why these teams are consistently, excuse me, ranked in the top 10 every year. But nonetheless, I think that Michigan is going to try to band together for this, and I think they're going to be all right. I think what they're going to have to do, if Harbaugh is not there tomorrow, or even if he isn't, if he is rather, I think they're going to have to survive that first wave, because the Nittany Lions fans, they're going to be into this game. It's going to be hectic. It's going to be a media circus, you name it. But I think if they can do that, they'll be okay. They're still the favorites in the game. Most people expect them to win. And at the end of the day, what doesn't kill you is only going to make you stronger. So like I said, this is going to get uglier before it gets a lot better. And there's going to be a lot of back and forth in the coming days, a lot of back and forth in the coming weeks in regards to Michigan and the Big Ten Conference. But nonetheless, the Big Ten made waves today. Michigan's trying to counter and buckle up for a 15-round heavyweight fight between the Maize and Blue and the Big Ten Conference. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds Off Sports Knowledge Podcast. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the Sports Discussion Group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.